We doing everything they talk about. You know I'm everything a boss about. Not putting work and gotta toss them out. I'm really biting, they just barking out. I'm really riding, they just parking now. His street, what to talk about. See the big H when I'm walking out.
Next topic I want to get into. All right. This past week in the ELF, there's in the NFL, once the season is over, they got this day called Black Monday, where you start hearing all the coaches that are losing their jobs and opportunities arise. Last week was Black Week in the ELF, right? We got 3 new spots opening up. Started with the Milan Seamen, and then the Munich Ravens, and then the Raiders of Tyrol, right? All parting ways with their original head coach. All right. On the good side of that, we got 2 coaches that got extensions. So I want to give a shout out to Russell Dave Christensen, who is coming back. I want to give a shout out to Thomas Kusling for Frankfurt, who is coming back. Those moves provide stability, continuity, easy to recruit, easy to build a foundation and grow, right? So good for those teams, the Panthers and the Galaxy, who were able to, already lock in their guys and they can already start on the recruiting path. Now, when it comes to Milan, you have a team that went 2-10, a team that struggled heavily on defense, especially in the secondary, right? But this position has an attractive quarterback in Luke Soraka, who's a top 5, quarterback in the league last year when it comes to ratings. You got a young talent like Juan Flores Calderon, my cousin Juan Flores Calderon. All right, you got offensive rookie of the year in Ali Khalif. All right, so you got some talent offensively, but the main focus for the Milan team has to be on the defensive side. So whoever they come in, not saying it has to be a defensive mind, but they got to be able to recruit and bring those guys in and attract some of the best talent, not just in Italy, but in Europe as well, to come and play for Milan, because it's a great organization. They have a beautiful stadium. The foundation and the structure is there, but now you got to bring the talent in. All right. Next, the Munich Ravens part ways with John Shute. All right. This team battled. This team almost made the playoffs. This team beat the number 3 team in the playoffs, the Stuttgart Surge. This team was a team that, was going down to the final wire at the end of the season. All right. So this one comes as a little bit of a surprise. But we'll see what they end up doing. Again, they went 7-5. We don't know what's next for the organization. Outside looking in, it seems like a good organization to play for, a good fan base. All right, seems like they're on the right track. And I think this is a team similar to Berlin. You bring your imports back, you sign a lot of your key guys. This is going to be a team that, with a good all season could push, right, to get in those playoffs or be in a better playoff spot in ELF 24. So we'll see what happens with Munich. And then lastly, the Raiders of Tyrol, a team that went 8-4. I think you could, hindsight 2020, you could almost kind of see the writing was on the wall, right? Once, they made that decision to part ways with Christian Strong, Jarvis McClam leaving. They finished the season 8-4. They missed the playoffs, right? Which is something that's not acceptable in that Raiders organization, whether they're playing in Austria, whether if they're playing in the ELF. They're one of the top organizations in Europe, so missing the playoffs does not bode well. And obviously, Kevin, Coach Heron was the fall guy for that. As I mentioned, the writing was on the wall. One thing to keep an eye on, though, Kyle Callahan. All right, he was assistant coach of the year last year for the Raiders. He's been with that organization for a while, not only as a player, but as a coach. Is he the next guy in line to lead this Raiders team in ELF 2024? All right. Or they got Malik Jackson, their defensive coordinator. I think the Raiders was a team that improved dramatically on defense. I think they were a team that made adjustments, that played, and that had the personnel. All right. And there's a lot of other things that didn't go well throughout the season. But can Malik Jackson be in the mix? Maybe if it's not for the Raiders, maybe for Munich, or maybe for the Milan team, right? I know we're going to hear this name a lot, but Andrew Weidinger for Ryan Fire, right? Is he going to be in the mix for some of these coaching spots, or is he going to stay in and Ryan. We'll see. There's a lot to dissect. There's a lot to dive into. But as you can see, we're in that time of year where we're in the thick of the playoffs. ELF free agency 24 is right around the corner, and these things will be coming left and right. Left and right. All right. Before we end this, I want to say thank you all for tuning in. Again, I appreciate you guys. Subscribe to the channel and drop a comment. Look out for another episode later this week as we preview the semifinals, right? And listen, we are about to get the most intriguing and the best matchup we've had all ELF season 3, right? The best game and the most intriguing matchup we've had all ELF season 3, all right? And we're getting that this week in the semifinals, all right? Thank you all for tuning in.
Hard work, they don't know better. Hard work, they don't know better.